All right. Chat room. And you can see and hear us. All right.
That is a tremendous keyboard. That is a man after my own heart, right there.
Oh, he just doesn't have his crispy on.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 second. I'm gonna unstrike.
Because can you hear that?
Okay.
No.
I could not hear that. No.
Yeah, that's because I have
Oh,
crispy
there we
on.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Not showing up yet. Okay.
No, I confirmed it's on Twitch, so that part's working.
Okay, we are seen and heard.
Yay!
Yay. Okay.
There we go.
We ready?
Who's leading the show?
Me.
You. All right. Very possibly. Hang on. Let me check. Oh, yeah. I forgot to kill a bunch of stuff. Hang on. Just so.
Make sure you loot the bodies.
Right. No, this is more about making sure that the backup solution doesn't try and back up temporary files. That's always fun. Like, why are you using all the CPU? I'm trying to back up the files you're using. No, don't do
No.
that would be...
Yeah, that's what's going on.
For you to do that.
I was wondering why my head was so shiny.
Kadavari, I have not gotten a long rest in approximately 50 years.
Or at least the
Fortunately-
last 20.
I am an elf, and I only actually need 4 hours of sleep. Or rest, meditation,
That's what
whatever you
she
want to
actually
call
does
it.
function on. Nope, that's CPU ID.
That's-
Where is the backup
that's
solution? There it is. All right. Okay, there's the backup
It's a
solution.
little better.
Pause. 2 hours. Fine. Good. All right. Yes. Anything else needs to process die? Make sure I'm not running Steam or the Blizzard launcher or, good lord, Diablo 4. All right. I'm good.
Hey! Going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on this episode of the AIE Podcast.
We have an update on the Trial of Style.
Congrats, conquerors of Osis.
Are you ready for the Jester's Festival?
Lord of the Rings Online returns to Carndom.
And Hoots and Lengtheris are here to talk about TTRPGs and AIE.
All that and more coming up now.
Bringing you the latest news from the AIE gaming community from planet Earth and beyond. This is the AIE Podcast.
Welcome to episode 401 of the podcast celebrating you, the Aaliyah Octa-esque gaming community. The Die Has Been Podcast. I am Akala, and to my left and downstairs over slightly is Tetsemi.
Running out of memory. Oh, it's a beta. Never mind. I'm good.
And to my right over a few states is Mewcow.
Greetings, guildies.
That's it? All right then.
Yeah.
All right, and this week we're joined by our very special guests, Hoots and Lengtheris, who are here to talk to us about some of the TPRPG activities in AIE. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hola bueno.
Welcome, welcome from the frozen north, where, as of this very moment, it is snowing again. It snowed like 10 inches yesterday, so that's why I'm into tabletop RPGs, because I can't go anywhere.
And those two guests is why mine was so short.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, guys, start the timer now.
No.
Keep us on task. Keep us from going on some tangents.
I mean,
We're not going to do like a Patton Oswalt filibuster.
I'll tell you this
like
much.
we did in Parks and Rec.
It is currently a bit after 7. My wife said try to keep it, before 10.
Okay, excellent. The good news is my game has been canceled tonight, so with the show does not have to be original as short as originally planned. In any case, we're going to be digging into tabletop shortly. No, we're not. We're first going to be talking about what we've been doing, which I'm certain we'll start digging into tabletop. So I'm actually just going to go from where you guys are on my screen because I'm not looking at Twitch. Hoots, what have you been up to in game, out of game, at the table, off the table, whatever?
Okay, so here's what's so. Hey, it's been a while since I've been on the podcast. Yeah. We're it's been I don't know. Has it been pre-pandemic that I haven't been on, or
I don't know. It's been a hot minute.
That long,
it's been a hot minute.
Like I don't have like a sense of time anymore. Is basically
who does?
What it comes down to.
There is
like
no
I got
time.
glasses.
Google search.
That's how badly it's gone. Like
right.
I have aged to the point where I need like little glassy things to
guys,
to see.
If you can't see, Hoots is 15 and looks 30.
That's exactly correct. Yep. But no, lately, so it's been kind of wild. For the last 2 weeks of March, my partner, bless her, she was away, like out for training in like Washington D.C. and last week, and then for the next 3 weeks, for the better part of the actual week, so Monday through Friday, she's out of town, like for work. So I'm left home alone, with two dogs. One we heard in the background in the pre-show. He's a 4-year-old mystery mix, and the other one is an 11-month-old Great Pyrenees puppy who is like 85 pounds of absolute fury.
Oh, weighs as much as I do.
Yes. Yep, exactly. Yeah, so it's been great. So my like just what I've been up to, like aside from we'll talk about like tabletop gaming, which is kind of my like non-gaming hobby that I absolutely adore. But for gaming, I have sort of a new little device that I don't know if I've probably not talked about on the show before, but it is the Mister. And I don't know if any of you know what the Mister project is, but the Mister, it's basically a project that is set up on what's called a DE10 Nano board by Terrasic. So it's kind of a more expensive version of the Raspberry Pi, but instead of like an ARM processor, it has an FPGA processor. And so what the Mister project is, it's an attempt to emulate a bunch of retro consoles, but rather than doing it in like software emulation, very intelligent people who are way more intelligent than I am have emulated the circuits and the hardware of the consoles on this project.
That sounds fascinating.
So you're supposed to get, like hardware accurate emulation on this box that then you can pipe into like, your Sony Triniton because you're a monster and want that authentic gaming experience. I don't have a Sony Triniton.
Right.
I have just some random arse HD TV, and that's what I've been doing in my spare time is playing through Super Nintendo games. I think I linked Mr. Langtheris. Did you know that Final Fantasy VI came out in 1994?
Oh, God.
That's 29 years ago
wow.
to this day.
And I am still traumatized because of it when the Sundering of the World. Which, by the way, still the best Final Fantasy, in my opinion, of the entire series. Yes, even better than 7. Fight me on that.
I mean, I won't fight you on that, but I have spoken publicly and will continue to publicly speak that the best Final Fantasy is Chrono Trigger. End of discussion. Mic drop.
February 25th, 2018 is the last time you were with us.
There you go.
Yeah, it was pre-pandemic.
Wow, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. So yeah, I've moved like 2 times since the pandemic. It's great. I am still in the great state of Wisconsin, but in the southern tip now, in the great city of Milwaukee. We'll actually talk about that a little bit later in the episode if people are around to any of the cons in Milwaukee this upcoming weekend. But yeah, I think that's without going into this is the story of my life for the past
right
3-4 years. I think that sums it up.
Awesome. All right, Link. In 15 minutes or less, what have you been up to?
Lol, 15 minutes. Lol.
I kid because I love you know that. My
I know,
friend.
and I love you too. So, what have I been up to recently, like gaming wise? So,
Yes.
I haven't really been playing that many like PC games. The only game that I've like actually recently picked up and been playing is and I always kill the name Anno Mutationum on the Switch, which is kind of a pixelated pixelated combat RPG in a dystopian background. And one of the things is that one of your little characters is a little sprite. You have to be appropriately dressed when you go out and kick butt.
Okay.
So it's
Well, yeah,
guaranteed.
You can't do good DPS if you look bad.
Okay,
Well, if
is
you don't
this like
look
Final
good-
Fantasy X-2 dressing, or what sort of level are we talking about? And for those of you who get the Final Fantasy X-2 reference, kudos.
Well, if you watch the trailer, one of the selling points is the making sure you select the appropriate attire, outfit, dress for your nightly goings on, because you can be in combat, you can be at a bar, you can be going on a date,
Mhm.
you might be destroying a bunch of
Oral 3.
mechanics. So you got to make sure you got the appropriate like dress to go along with what you're wearing, or what you're doing.
So this is Final Fantasy. I mean, Final Fantasy X-2 wasn't exactly that, but sure,
Yeah.
we'll say it's exactly like Final Fantasy X-2 then.
It's Cyberpunk 2077, just pixelated and a lot like colorful, and actually not janky.
Right. We have some interjection here from Gusty, and she's correct. Trial a style indeed.
Yep.
No, you can't. You can see it's a matter of like internal foci of control. You don't feel good if you don't dress well.
I'm a big believer in this.
I mean, if you're fighting the evil Hellspawn or the servants of Cthulhu in
You
like
gotta look
a
good.
running like an Adidas tracking shirt, if you look like one of the Russian like tracksuit
Yeah,
mafia,
exactly.
you're not going to be as effective.
No. Yeah,
Nah,
there's
but-
no
Unless
no
you're
question
a
of a
minion.
tracking suit.
Yeah, but show up in an ascot and a 3/4 pirate jacket. You're gonna slay.
Absolutely. Or in a wiggle dress with all the appropriate undergarments and make everything fit perfectly.
Yep.
Absolutely. Every day.
So is my like t-shirt and sweatpants approach to working from home?
No,
like,
it's fine.
is
It's
that-
fine.
You're
should I,
a
like-
minion.
Well,
You're a minion.
Or no, am I a minion or am I
Mhm.
part of like /r anti-work? Is that really what it's
So-
Yeah,
saying?
it could be
Why not
Right?
both?
Like,
Why not both?
So what you
Yeah,
need to do, seeing that you can actually grow decent facial hair, unlike me, you should like
That's
go
true.
for the whole like
Yeah.
barb, the curly mustache.
here's the thing. I haven't touched this in like 3 weeks. Now you can like I have like all sorts of neck hairs that I need to like trim
Like I
up
say,
and
we're not
freshen up.
going to
If
call
I
you a
actually-
neckbeard,
yeah.
my friend.
Yeah, a neck beard, but it's real bad right now. And but no, it's like I think we were interviewing someone, and I think like the three of us who were doing the interviewing before we got in, it's like, well, we're obviously not. He was an internal hire, so we all knew him.
Oh,
so
that's good. Okay,
maybe
yeah.
that makes it better or worse.
I
so
still dress
we're
up.
immediately thinking, yeah. And I still dress up too, but we were like, yeah, if he wears like a button-up shirt and a tie, we're not only not hiring him, we're firing him.
We're giving him a bad time.
It's over. We're kicking him out. But no, that's my maybe approach. But no, I'm glad your video game, but really supports the dressing of up. And,
Yes.
In that grammatical statement.
Yes.
Because as you all know, I have like 6 or 7 suits that I haven't worn in going on now 3 years.
A hot minute. Yeah.
because No one does that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
So go figure. It's like really fancy shoes I never get to wear anymore. They're collecting dust because I don't actually like go out that often.
And that's why you should dress up for game.
Absolutely.
Chase,
There you go.
my Pyrenees ate one of my fancy shoes.
Oh no!
Oh no.
That happened to Ted
he-
when we adopted our first baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I say it was really my fault because I left the door open where the shoes are, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
You never have to worry about that with cats. But
They're gonna barf. They might barf.
I'm
and
gonna
they'll-
barf on them.
barf on them.
I was gonna say they'll throw up in them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna barf on your shoes or something even worse if you're late for lunch. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I digress.
Would. Yeah, really. All right,
What
guys.
else?
We're 15 minutes into the show before Lance digressed the first time. Counter going.
But to make a long story short, so I've actually been playing an awful lot of D&D for the past 3-4 months. I've actually I've got the Monday session campaign with Hoots, who's our DM.
Awesome.
Tyranny of Dragons for that, and actually Wednesday nights and Thursday nights I'll go to one of the two local friendly local gaming stores and actually go and play through D&D Adventure League there. So
excellent, very cool.
It's great to the point where you show up, it's like, oh god, he's here.
It could be either way. It could be a good oh god or a bad oh god.
Well, mostly it's a good oh god. It's a bad oh god when we happen to, and you might have noticed my little rant the other day on Discord about the topic of clerks who don't clerk. It's just like you're too busy doing DPS. I'm like, half the party's dying, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I can't. As somebody who is almost always the healer, which is a weird thing for me. Yeah, I do not get behind that. Like, you got a job, yes. If everybody is up okay, yeah, DPS away, or do something like Bless that helps people stay up and hit. But if you've got your party dropping, you need a cleric.
The tank is like on at one point it's on the last 3 hit points. Cast Sanctuary on them. Oh, but no, what's my return of investment on healing you up? And I'm like going,
the tank survives. The tank does the tank's job. It's just like in a video game. You have a rule and use the healing word as a bonus action if you have to.
Yeah, but
sorry.
But what I've joked around with DM at the time is like, I'm going to make a little like really fancy dunce hat, and not say dunce, but say wizard with 2 Z's. And like, congratulations, you get to wear the Rincewind hat because you're terrible.
Right.
I would wear the wizard hat voluntarily all the time. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right.
You just gave me an idea for my Etsy store.
Ooh. All right. Anything else, my friend, before I move on to Mew?
I think we're all good.
Okay. We'll get into this in just a few. All right, Mew, what have you been up to, my friend?
Let's see. Allergies. Less fun stuff. So the fun stuff. So we did touch some grass in San Diego.
Nice.
It was the kiddo's birthday, so we drug him to Legoland.
I know your son.
Yeah. And SeaWorld, because they're both right there. Which is, amusingly enough, as we're there, we then remembered, oh yeah, there's a Legoland and a SeaWorld in San Antonio, and that's like 2 hours away.
Yeah, it is quicker.
But
however,
we
less
had family
allergies.
in San Diego. Yeah.
There's no cedar there.
Right.
In San Diego, not San Antonio.
Actually, I honestly don't know, because it felt like our allergies got worse when we were in San Diego.
Oh no.
Sorry.
So I think it was the time of year where San Diego gets confused. Their trees are like, I don't know what to do. It was also constantly raining, which doesn't.
Yes.
Oh my God, rain and water has been so bad.
It makes no sense. Like, it's
glorious.
Like, I lived in San Diego for a while, and it never rained. Like, it rained one time in a year, and we were like, "What is this white stuff coming from the sky? I don't understand." And we were there, and it rained a lot, and it was just like, what is this city? This doesn't make sense. Everything. We were driving down the 15, and it was green. Yeah, like the hills were green. Oh, yeah. The sides of the highway were green, and I
know.
What? Where are we? This is supposed to be like brown and yellow. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
But
it's the upside down. Because of work, I got to learn a little bit about like the makeup of like Southern California, and I found out why allergies are particularly bad in Southern California.
Is it because everyone brought their stuff with them?
Well, no, it has everything to do with urban planning and the lack of of hiring arborists to actually plant trees. They just pick the most decorative trees.
Right. Yeah.
90% of the trees grown in California, like planted, are male trees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
They're constantly shedding pollen.
God, it makes sense.
If they had planted female trees, which would absorb some of that, then you wouldn't be too busy like inhaling the spooge everywhere.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yes. So yeah, that's been fun. We're still recovering from all that, but But other than that, gaming wise, let's see. Have been playing WoW, trying to progress in heroic rating. Did enjoy the new area for a little bit, but then most of my time gets sucked up in rating. And then the other thing I've been doing is leveling up a Drakthir. And because I heard some interesting rumors that they might be getting a third spec, and it's a toss-up whether it's a tank or a support class.
Yep.
But either way, that sounds interesting, especially.
Yeah.
Well, I would love if it was a tank because I prefer tanking, but I would also love the ability to do something other than tanking on that character. Because right now my main character is a warrior, and it's tank or DPS, and we don't need DPS. DPS are a dime a dozen. It's tanks and healers that we're always in need of. So as it is right now, it's like, oh, we're short on healers. I can stand here with my shield. That's basically all I can do for you.
Exactly. I can self-heal. I brought bandages.
Yeah.
That's the whole cleric rant.
Funny how you mention that, whether online or in person, you always have the hard time getting a healer and a tank.
Yep.
No.
But yeah, the other funny thing too is warriors is I'm usually the fifth healer. If we have three healers, I'm the fifth healer because the fourth healer is my co-tank who is a druid bear.
Yeah.
And sometimes that druid bear will fight with a third place healer for the third place spot because of how much healing those things do. But that's been a lot of my focus. I have been in Final Fantasy 14, enjoying time with the Lulliprits, which I don't know, is he still hanging up here? I have a Lulliprit up here somewhere. But these little bunny dudes, which I can't tell you where they're from because that would be spoilers. But yeah, I've been hanging out with these guys a lot. They have some funny and very inappropriate quests.
Okay.
Yeah.
That bunny is really cute. Like insanely
adorable bunny.
cute.
Please watch. Please take a look at the.
Privately send me a link of where I can acquire one because my wife will love one of those bunnies.
Final Fantasy 14 Collector's Edition for Endwalker. So you got $200 or $300. Yeah, no big deal. But these things alone, though, people are selling these alone on eBay for like $70 for some reason. Like really?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
a short too.
Yeah, they're cute, and they because of what's been going on with them, they're kind of clueless into what's been going on with us, other people in the Final Fantasy 14 world. So it's just coming across some of the things they've been doing up there. You're just like, really, you guys? Okay. I'm not going to shame what you're doing. You enjoy you. But the translators had some fun with the quests. But that's that, and playing a bit of Genshin Impact, trying to catch up with the story because their latest events are always behind the most latest story, and it's very annoying because I'm still behind on the main story because there's just so much of it. Like the new area is a giant area that's all this lush forest and then all this huge desert. And so I've just not gotten through all of it, and then they just keep throwing these new events, which have that's the other funny thing is, unlike a lot of other games, Genshin's events are thick with story. Like just you learn some crazy things about characters and their interactions, and we learned that one of them is really bad at jokes and revels in it. And his traveling companions want to strangle him on a regular basis because of just how bad. He's the kind of guy that will tell you a bad joke, and then he'll have to explain it to you because you've clearly not gotten it because you're not laughing.
Right. Yeah.
And this character is like a feared general of an army.
Funny.
And throws out dad jokes and is like, "This is why you're not getting. Do you understand the joke I'm trying to tell you?" It's just hilarious. But it's behind all this other story, so it's just so much catching up. But other than that, I actually got some stuff done around the house, so hopefully I'm not covered in drywall. But
yeah, it's fine. You're fine. It's about you.
Fine.
You're good.
Yeah, we're good. But that's probably enough out of me.
Awesome. So Ted, what have you been up to?
A lot. But I'll keep it short. Since you have the other games, can I do the
yes, you still Call of Cthulhu.
So, Call of Cthulhu, we got diverted from our main quest because they went, hey, somebody's stealing brains up in Canada, in Quebec, or near Quebec. You need to go up there and see if it's aliens. Spoiler, it wasn't aliens. But we flew up there and, got introduced to the town, found out it was 2 homeless people, went to their version of the YMCA, met with the good father, noticed he had a phrenology head prominent in his office, went about, ended the session, didn't think anything of it. Literally 30 minutes after lying down in bed to go to sleep, I'm like, it's not aliens. That priest is operating on people.
Yeah, he's like, isn't phrenology the study of the human head? I'm like,
yeah. And
it is.
We're like, wait a minute, because the MO of the aliens was they were taking brains out of people, putting them in other bodies, but they weren't wasting anything. They were keeping the bodies, trading the brains around, that sort of thing. They found 2 bodies with the brains removed, but they found the bodies. And we're like, there's a problem here.
That's not right.
So, yeah. So the next session, being the smart people we are, we laid out the whole plan. We said, okay, now we've got to get more information on the good father without accusing the good father because, he's a good standing in this small town. That would just be rude. So we're like, all right, older person in our party, you go impersonate a homeless person. We'll hit the local thrift store, get in good with the father, and no problem. Yeah, that worked way too well because he immediately got in with the father, went to help with some construction at the father's house that he was renovating, and we didn't think to follow him. We were sitting at a bar having dinner. So he escaped literally by the skin of his teeth to make it to the bar where we were able to expose the whole thing and go, yeah, it wasn't aliens. It was this guy doing phrenology surgery, and they found a bunch of brains and other stuff and unsolved murders that no one had thought to, look at more closely. So, yeah, that was fun. So that was a good time.
And he said the older person because the rest of us are literally college students or his character's a teacher's aide. So we're at Miskatonic. Like, we're between like 20 and 25.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. So now we've got to go back and pick up the main story, hopefully. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, don't split the party without following them. That was just like, what were we thinking?
That does play into character, though.
Yeah.
That
it absolutely did.
Students would think to split the party would be like, no, you'll be fine. We're just gonna hang out.
He's a war veteran.
He was gonna go get information. He was going to snoop around, get into father's study, find some notes, and set, to prove what we were thinking.
Yeah, and he was, he was a war veteran, so we figured, he can handle himself. Except, this Irish priest was built like a brick.
He had an 80. He had an 80 strength. He had like a 85 build. It was not cute.
And chloroform. That was how he was.
Chloroform.
Oh,
yeah, lots of chloroform.
Chloroform, not real chloroform.
Yeah. So that was fun. Okay. So we went from that fun scenario to the second weekend of the Diablo 4 beta. Speaking of things that are dark and just, good Lord, some of those quests are really off-putting. It's still I had fun.
That's the early thing.
Yeah, it's the early beta. Leveled up. I tried all the classes. The sorcerer seems like the most overpowered right now. You get a lightning sorcerer with hydras and everything just dies. Necromancer is followed real closely because you start out with 4 skeletons as minions, and fairly quickly you can upgrade them from skeletons without shields to shields, and then they start really tanking for you. Combine that with corpse explosion, and things just die, except for the bosses. That's where they need some tuning. Like, up to the elites, everything's good. As soon as you hit a dungeon boss or the world boss, things slow down for no reason, and it's a time sink. It's like, this is an interesting fight. It's like the Sylvanas fight in WoW. Why did it have to be so long? It wasn't interesting. It wasn't fun. So they need some tuning there.
Are they maybe taking hints from Lost Ark? Because I've seen like a lot of the Lost Ark raid bosses. Like they have like, what was it, like, 30, 40, 50 health point bars. And you're just sitting there mowing through things for a few hours, and then eventually it dies.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. Like there wasn't an interest. Like there's 5 sections of health bar, so every 20% something happens, and nothing. Like strategy didn't change that much, or things like that. It wasn't there. There wasn't anything interesting about the boss. It just took a lot because they had a lot of health, and it was like, okay, we need some tuning here. And then other games, ESO, I've just been doing my daily crafting. Final Fantasy XIV, like Mew, helping out with the Lobrits. And WoW, I did open up I did all the stuff in Forbidden Reach. I got the 30 vault keys, finished the vault. Ended up with 2 unfinished items that I didn't have the rooms for because one is a egg that turns into a mount, but like you have to find, here's the egg and this item that's in this room, and then you take that egg with the next item that's in another room.
Find some blue gloop, find some red gloop, find this artifact over here, find this thing and poke it, sit on it for this amount of time, do a little dance around it. So it's, I think I'm like 2 items away from finishing it. And then there was one pet that I couldn't collect because the room that it spawned in didn't generate in the 30 rooms that I unlocked, because everyone got a different set of 30 rooms. So, yeah, but it was fun. For me, I stopped getting keys after like 9, and I was like, maybe I need to come back another day or something. So, I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe I'm just
so
getting
even
really bad
killing
RNG.
rares, you weren't picking up keys?
I like I said, I kept getting them until I got about 9, and then they just stopped dropping. I was like, is it 9 a day? You know.
No, it wasn't 9. You could get as many as you wanted a day. You had to make sure you did the first 2 quests that, like the first quest said, open 3 doors, and then the next you came back and then it's open a couple more doors. And then once you did that, like I said, I had no problem getting keys. I was just killing rares and doing searchable stuff. So
and I just decided I don't want to waste any more possible rares on this. I'm just going to stop for now and then go level my Dracthyr. So
gotcha.
I'll try it again, see what happens.
All right, McCullough, what have you been up to?
We saved the galaxy today.
Yay!
And I did dark side points, so that's good.
You did not get dark side points.
I did not. I'm no longer in danger of turning to the dark side, being the most moral character of that dang party, but still having really bad luck with RNG. Yeah, so it's really nice. No, so we probably going for a little while, but so in our Star Wars RPG today, we had learned of a attempt that was going to happen in the Senate. Well, the Senate was meeting actually to discuss, were they going to kind of help support the rest of the galaxy? Were they going to be, because we're in the New Republic era, were they going to, pull their troops back? We have Leia Organa saying, no, they're Imperial remnants. We need to be, supporting the troops and making money and fighting them. Where other people saying, no, it's fine. You're just, being a warmonger. So we had learned of a plot by some of the Imperial remnants. By the way, one of these is my character's clone. Because, Star Wars and having an evil clone Dr. Mother. Where they had taken a chemical compound and made it so it only affected non-humans, but it was lethal within an hour. And by the way, humans weren't affected by it, but they were carriers. So they wouldn't kill anybody, but they would, go other places. And of course, we're on Coruscant and spread it through the galaxy to affect others. And they were using the weather droids to disperse it. And it is, Endor Day on Coruscant. So everybody's out there celebrating and, it's pretty, looks pretty innocuous. You have these weather droids around and there's all these fireworks and all this. So we broke into one place where they were controlling the weather droids. We took that down. Rough fight, but we took it down. But we found that there was behind the guy that we were dealing with, there was another countdown that had nothing to do with what we're dealing with. So there was a secondary attack, and it was planted in a statue of Mon Mothma at the Senate. So then we raced down there, and there were 2 Sith that we had to fight, and we have a number of Force users on our group, but we're fairly untrained. We're not, we're learning. The most of us have 2 Force die. They had 5. So it was a real rough battle. And I am the healer. I heal by the Force. I heal as a medic. All of that. So I spent most of my time keeping the tank up, because she was fighting the one that was more trained. The big bad with 2 lightsabers.
Right.
And of course I'm giving commands of, no, don't use blasters or set your blasters to stun, because we know Jedis can soak lights. They can soak the blaster bolts. You can't soak stun.
Nope.
You cannot soak stun.
Also, shotgun works really well.
No, because Star Wars wise, no though. My rifle doesn't do crap.
Mandalorian shotguns work really well.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, because they're Katosis, so yeah, or Beskar. Yeah. So yes, those actually get through stuff. Yep. But most Jedi have lots of different defense. So I'm screaming like, don't kill them, use stun. So we're able to we did Viscerate 1, got one of her lightsabers too, which is great when you have psychometry. I'll be playing with that later. The other did escape, but while we're fighting them, our engineer is dealing with the bomb. So we did end up saving the galaxy, at least making sure that, all non-humans didn't die. And then at the end of the game, we rolled for, what light side or dark side we got. For once, I rolled high.
Yay!
Because I was the furthest. I also had the lowest number. So you roll a D100 to see, and then whoever gets the furthest from their base gets double points. And then I rolled 8 out of 10. So I actually got 16 light side points, which was great.
That's great.
I'm no longer in danger of the dark side. So that was fun. And now I'm going to pick up a bunch of new abilities. And maybe learn some fighting abilities from this woman's lightsaber. Because I'm a force sensitive who can't use a lightsaber yet. Because it's all we know is brawn. Well, I'm an agility based. I'm a medic and I'm a pilot. I don't do brawn.
Right.
So that is my exciting. Yes.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking as you were describing like the plot in your game to destroy the galaxy. I'm a Warhammer 40K fan, so the only thing I can think of is all Xenos must die. Hail the Emperor.
But exactly. Very much so. Very much so. Yep. Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yep.
And the fun thing is, I'm a former imp, so I'm a reformed imp. So that's my exciting news. So we've babbled on what's going on long enough. We're gonna very quickly get through the news. Luckily, we don't have a lot. Yep. And then we're going to talk even more tabletop. So, yay! It's going to be a lot of tabletop tonight.
AIE News.
All right. Well, you know where to find the schedule for the mandatory fun night, and we also have the links to the guild all the various guild podcasts in the notes. So go look there. Just to let you all know, Nomads, the AIE Valheim hosted server is online and the IP has changed. The server information is pinned in the Discord channel.
Yep. Also, just a quick note before we get into the WoW news. The Diablo 4 beta goes through tomorrow at noon Pacific. The guild is currently at 150 members, which is full. We're not probably going to spin up a second guild because they're going to do a wipe after this one. Yeah. So, and there's not really any, there's not a guild bank or anything. It's just for communication right now. We'll see what they do with guilds or clans, whatever they're going to call them. So just FYI, remember, if you get a character to 20 in the beta, even though it's wiped, you get the wolf pup sleeping on your back in the retail game
It's so
you purchase
cute.
it. It is. All right, but in WoW news, this week, the Trial of Style event was live and lots of fun was had with guildies in this fast-paced fashion competition. There were new categories this year such as Going Green, Profession Expression, Gothic Gala, and Expedition Catwalk. Sadly, we couldn't queue as mixed Horde and Alliance groups yet, but Pepe was there to support both factions. Also, we have pictures. Is that Gusty Tail wielding Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker? Why, yes. Yes, it is.
Very nice.
And in Raid Team news, New Braid took down the first 3 bosses in Vault of the Incarnates and made good progress on a 4th, Dathia. Go New Braid. The Filthy Casuals defeated Normal, Razageth, and 2 bosses on Heroic. On the Alliance side, Hell Froze Over has downed Heroic Kureg, the coffee boss, and Progression Team So Let's Go Skating is working on Heroic Razageth for their Ahead of the Curve achievement. Also on let's see. Pasted twice. Sorry about that. We're looking for DMs for 1 week, a week of one-shots. Dungeons & Dragons Guild event at the end of April. Please visit the Tabletop RPG channel in AIE Discord for more info and tag Gusty Tail if you're interested. Our DMs will be receiving a hand-painted mini as a thank you gift courtesy of Lank Theris. Oh, hey, Lank, maybe you can talk about this more later in the news, in the game's discussion.
Yes, absolutely.
And a quick note from WoW Classic. They are still working on clearing Ulduar. Been a few busy weeks for the team, but they're still around. Still waiting on word when TOC is hitting, but everyone is still having fun.
Excellent. And in SOTOR news, the Guild won its Total Galactic War battle, and now everyone who participated can display their new title, Conqueror of Ossus. Additionally, if you zone into Ossus, you see a banner message stating AIZ is the current conqueror of the planet. Congrats, folks. 7.2.1, which among many things will bring Galactic Season 4, dropping on 3/28. It'll also update. It is also the update that will bring the 64-bit client, so we're expecting a bigger than normal download that day. And as always, please come and join the crew Tuesday nights for MFN.
And in ESO news, the last couple of weeks have been spent working our way through the 2 new dungeons in preparation for the next chapter release. The next couple of MFNs will be focused on the upcoming Jesters Festival. We will group up to do the daily quests and take advantage of the XP boost. And in game news, aforementioned Jesters Festival runs from March 29th to April 6th. In addition to the event XP boost, there will be a specific quest to earn the festival boxes full of loot and event tickets. The next chapter, Necrom, will be out June 5th for PC and Mac and June 20th for consoles.
In Final Fantasy XIV news, they wanted you to keep an eye out for the FC run of the second return to Ivalice raid. And Castiel will be announcing the date soon, so keep an eye on the Final Fantasy XIV or FFXIV channel for more information. Otherwise, most of the people just trying to catch up on the tribe quests, especially with the new bunnies running around. I believe that also means that the meta quest for all 3 tribes is available once you get all 3 of those caught up to max rank. So that's pretty much what everyone's been focusing on.
So they're doing a meta quest, but not an alliance quest, right? Because they stopped doing the alliance quests after the second after Heaven's Ward.
Yeah, but they still do some kind of a wrap up having to deal with the 3 of them. So.
Okay.
All right. And in STO news, the fleet is closing in on finishing its last project. It'll complete the fleet holding and give our players access to all the fleet goodies. STO is currently in its second annual STO is currently running its second event in a year-long campaign. This event focuses on Voth and rewards a universal kit, Voth Battlesuit. It's going to be fun. Don't miss out. Fleet Action Report, an AIE-related STO video podcast, runs Monday nights at 10 p.m. It is live-streamed and then posted later to YouTube. All episodes can be found at fleetactionreport.com. Fleet Fun Nights runs Tuesday at 10. They'll help Thursdays at 10. Wow. They'll help players level, run TFO TFOs, run events, or anything else that players might need. If you want to follow along, twitch.tv/Greybog.
Over on Lord of the Rings Online, update 35 was released on Wednesday, the past one. With the update, everyone returns to Karn Doom, as well as new instances for small and fellowships. Also, the captains, hunters, and wardens trait pouts have been reset. Points. I'm guessing that's points.
Yeah.
Points.
Yes. Yeah. Trait points makes more sense.
Autocorrect for the win.
Woohoo! Along with other fun class changes that a new update always brings, Karn Doom has received a major refresh in Update 35. Check your mail for the starter quest.
And now, with the quickest news recap ever, it's time to get back to Hoots and Lank and find out what's going on with TPRPGs, AIE and TPRGPGs, and lots of table talk. Gentlemen, take it away.
We are not going to talk about the Wizards of the Coast,
No.
OGL, Apocalypse. We're not going to talk
Okay,
about it. We
you know
made a
why?
whole hour and a half prior recording that you can go listen to if that's what you want to know about.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Old
we
news
covered
now.
it
Old
ad nauseum.
Yep.
We could have gone another hour, but we
But so
didn't.
so yeah.
Absolutely.
But as a plug, in light of that, I think everyone nowadays, like me especially, like having been in the hobby for a hot minute, is just taking more time to call out and talk about. I guess you would have historically called them like third party publishers, or I prefer the term indie RPG publishers.
Independent.
And independent, or at least not in the shackles
Smaller.
of like a giant company such as Hasbro, for example.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
naming the company off the top of my head.
I think the nice thing about this whole mess, though, is people are becoming more aware of not just, the big one, which is great.
Yeah.
Oh, if you only knew,
Absolutely.
Carla,
And Langtheris, you are talking, but we cannot hear you, or I cannot hear you at least.
can you hear me now or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, you're good.
Yeah, no. Just to cover your point, Makala. So, of the two game stores that I go to, the second one, the newer one, the more progressive one, has altogether banned D&D and has replaced it with a full-on learn to play any other RPG except anything.
Oh,
you
neat.
want.
Wow.
Do they still carry the stuff, or is it their tables are any other game, or
They still carry it, but they've pushed it way back with all the Star Wars Armada stuff.
Oh wow!
Fair. Poor Armada.
I know, it's great minis.
It's so pretty and it's just so expensive, and
Yeah,
I just don't have that
exactly.
much extra space for plastic.
They went the Warhammer 40K route on that without getting the fan base to gradually get into that, and just said, "Here's a bunch of expensive stuff," and everyone went, "No."
And actually having watched one of these games, it's like, oh my god, so many dice, so
Right.
many rules.
That's Star Wars in general, though, RPGs. Anyways, continue. I apologize.
Oh
No, we can't hear you.
Now we can't hear you, Hoots.
You're muted, Hoots.
I'm muted this time. Excellent.
Everyone's taking turns.
Excellent. Everyone's taking turns. Was I? Oh, right. At the top of the show, we just wanted to shout out, I think, a couple of indie RPGs that either we've been really into, or that, if in my case, at the top of the list, I've been kind of saying it at every opportunity that I get. I haven't played it yet because I have to keep evangelizing it until one of these days I either run a game or someone runs a game and I'm able to play in it. But I think, like, for indie RPGs that I would recommend people check out, Evil Hat has a lovely, award-winning RPG called Thirsty Sword Lesbians that is absolutely, like, again, I own like a digital copy of the book, and I have not played or run a game yet, but having gone through that book, it is phenomenal, and you should definitely check it out. And once I keep evangelizing it and we get enough people
You'll eventually
interested,
play it?
we're going to run a game.
Awesome.
Yes, because I think that's next on my to-do list.
Awesome.
Lank, I know that's one that you recently, I think, either ran or played in.
Yep. I got exposed to it at the convention, and I've been seeing it pop up everywhere. At all the game
Everywhere,
stores.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so I just haven't pulled the trigger and picked it up. I was actually watching this video on how it's handled on VTT. I also found it rather interesting that the archetypes that they provide, you can't have more than one particular archetype within the game.
Oh, neat.
So
okay.
it forces you to be varied.
Very diverse.
That and also I was joking around with Hoots about the other day, where Thirsty Sword Lesbians, of course, is an homage, a call through to Princess Utena, Revolutionary Girl Princess Utena. If you're into anime, where it's like, wow, they actually turned Princess Utena into an RPG.
Awesome.
So on the other one, other aspect, one done from Free League, I got to play Blade Runner for the first time.
They do some really fun stuff in general. That particular publishing house, I've heard a lot of like actual plays and stuff.
Yeah, I picked up the book and starter set, which comes with its own set of. They have their own kind of like special little dice that goes along with it, which is total like Blade Runner motif, which is really cute because it's got the little origami horses on it whenever you fail.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And it having playing some of the other systems out there. The closest I would have to say is it actually plays an awful lot like Call of Cthulhu.
It does, yes.
It really does.
Same with the Aliens RPG, same thing.
And it's heavy on the RP thing. I when I got to play it recently, the DM actually like dropped his cup of coffee. He's like, "This is one of your favorite IPs, isn't it?" It's like, absolutely yes. And it's like, I know that people have talked about like Cyberpunk or even Shadowrun. Shadowrun, I love it, but it's broken. And Cyberpunk is never. It's always sold out, so you can never really get a copy unless you want to get digital one. But it's got that, But the problem is that it doesn't have the right feel when it comes to dystopia. You don't have that oppressive moodiness that comes along with it. Cyberpunk, it's also really, really like pastel-y and bright. I don't want that in my dystopia. I want
you want noir. You want noir dystopia.
You basically want neo-noir, and it runs just like that. And it was a really interesting. We got to play one of the starter campaigns with these presets, and it proved to be really, really interesting. The game therefore definitely plays different if you're playing a human or you're playing a replicant. Mm-hmm. Quick cheater things. The replicants are the stronger, more physical fit of the two classes. You can call them classes, two races, whatever.
Right, races, yeah.
But they are a lot more emotionally fragile, and you always run the risk of, if you push yourself, getting retired yourself. And of course, there's a mechanic where the DM can at one point point towards a human being and say, "Oh, by the way, you're a replicant too," and completely screwing up your. And the thing is that they keep track of that. So if there's this resource that it's basically stress. And as a human being, you can ring up a lot more stress than a replicant. But if you end up being the replicant, guess what? You're now completely out of baseline, and the entire LAPD is out to get you. It kind of runs between. If you saw like the various like animated shorts that came out, like. Was it the Blackout or Black Lotus? It runs between 2049 and Black Lotus, so it's like about 5-6 years before what you see in 2049.
Very cool.
But the entire time we were playing it, I joked around. It's like we need to loop in the Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack the entire time because it so led itself to that kind of like moodiness.
Awesome. All right. So what other ones are out there?
All right, and I'm going to talk about Traveler. Traveler is an old.
I love Traveler
system. It is.
It's old. Yeah.
It is. There are newer editions out there. You don't die in character creation.
That's it.
That's lame. Lame.
Oh, it's fine.
It's not. If you don't die in character creation at least once, you're not playing Traveler. Come on.
Back in my day.
I think that is a position that I respect. But no, there are newer editions. But my God, if you are looking for like kind of a harder science fiction RPG system to play, look up Traveler. Look up like Mongoose Second Edition.
Yep.
Look up I think Cephas Engine is like a version of it. You can look up if you want the really, really crunchy old school rules. Look up Mark Miller's Traveler. It is if you just want to waste time and not play a video game, I believe the website is travelermap.com, and you can look at basically this RPG's system. Like it's like 40 years or however long of history, all of the subsectors that have been published for this game. It is tremendous, and you can spend days going through like sector by sector. It's incredible. It deserves a massive shout out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, I was reading something that's like Category posted it saying that Cyberpunk is the TTRPG is pro wrestling of the genre, and I would say actually there is a Mexican luchador TTRPG out now, which I'm trying to call the luchadors.
Amazing.
It is.
In fairness to Katavari, I do run a once a year continuing one shot of Cyberpunk. It is a Cyberpunk Xmas that I run with my group of friends. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's every year the corpos are trying to steal Christmas from the people, and we need to save it. I know, like last year, like they were trying to create like a snow machine that was going to like blanket all of the major cities in snow and shut down everything. It was wonderful. It was absolutely. We had robot Santas. It was perfect.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
And lastly,
like tell me about Coyote and Crow.
Yes.
Because it's been getting a lot of buzz.
It's been getting a lot of buzz, and I actually picked up the digital version of it, and my wife wants me to pick up the hard copy because she loves the idea. So same kind of high fantasy, but also slightly sci-fi. It predisposes a world where the European colonizers never made to America.
Mm-hmm.
So the United States is split up amongst the various Native American tribes, the various like religious and technological advancements, and that is the area that you play in. So
very cool.
Still like really burying into myself. I bury myself into the book, kind of reading more about it. But it's if you're ever complaining, it's that our D&D is a little too Eurocentric. Try out Coyote and Crow. I know I'm going to be trying it out.
That sounds fabulous.
My wife wants me to set up a game so she can join and invite some friends over. And she is not a gamer.
Yo, she's not. That's awesome.
So yeah, and the book is gorgeous, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it.
I'll have to take a wander over to one of our two friendly neighborhood gaming stores and take a look.
So on that, I think the next topic is like you want to talk, who's want to talk to me about my recent kind of escapades on OrcCon 2023? This would have been in February. Yeah. So there's this convention organization called Strategicon, which they put on 3 regional gaming conventions in the area. The first one, of course, was OrcCon. A lot of these, of course, hadn't been happening because of the pandemic. So it was the first kind of like welcome back to being in real person. By the way, come take a look at our cool convention book as you see a bunch of orcs getting a bunch of like Fauci ouchies, which is hilarious.
That's fabulous.
And I had been to one a while back ago, but I was there more to like hang out with a friend. This is the first time I was actually there just to try out the various gaming systems. Because even though I do have some experience, I'm kind of willfully ignorant of so many other ones, just because that's not necessarily where I'm usually more computer nowadays versus like in person.
Right.
But it's like I got to try D&D, Call of Cthulhu, Blade Runner, Pathfinder. They had my good old like Artemis Bridge Simulator, which was really fun because I get to show off people my space captain method, RP tendencies of I do the whole like Captain Ahab walking back and forth, which is kind of hilarious.
Right.
But it was from like 9 a.m. till 2 o'clock in the morning. Every game system that you want to try, you can check it out. And actually Friday and Saturday nights they have a tradition of playing werewolf. So they get all the kids and teenagers. So they fill these rooms with 30 participants, and they're running like a dozen werewolf games. I was just sitting there.
Do we know if they're different? Like a werewolf, I guess they are werewolf clans.
Miller's Hollow. So the RP to it, and it's amazing how the same game kind of plays so little differently depending on who's running it.
Sure.
And personalities. So I had a great old time.
Nice.
The dealer's room was of course fantastic because all the cool stuff that you wish a lot of the that were available through some of the gaming stores, which some are, some are not, and just some unique things that you just can't find anywhere. Though I did have to kind of like make a face and kind of, I don't know how I think about this. Where I showed a picture to the Hoots where I didn't know that gang life was represented in a board game called Thug's Life, and I did not know how I felt about that.
Sure.
It's just one of those.
Really? One of those kind of really? That's what we're going with, bud?
Cholos and gangsters. I'm like going, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
So there's that with that. So so I had a lot of fun. Likely be going to the next convention, which is GameX, which will be in May. So if any of the local AIE folks want to come and join me, you're all more than welcome to. It's usually held at the LAX Hilton. Mm-hmm. Usually a 3-day. The Orcon was a 3.5-day ordeal. So I would really highly recommend you save your pennies and get a room because, I was getting back to my room at 3:30 in the morning, and it's amazing how you think, oh, I'll sign up for this game and that game. Next thing you know, you have a full day and your feet are tired.
We're not kids at cons anymore. We're grown adults.
Yeah, we're grown ass people, and it's just like I used to be able to go from like 5 a.m. to 3 a.m. It's like, no, I really can't.
No, it's not. It is not. You're not an elf in a Dungeons and Dragons setting where you only need 4 hours of rest.
Yeah,
and also proven otherwise, I'll still collapse and die.
Right, exactly.
So, and speaking of which, Hoots, I think you're going to a couple of gaming conventions as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to. So in my neck of the woods, there is a Midwest Classic Gaming convention next weekend. It's a 3-day thing. I'm only going on Saturday. I don't need to be there every day, and it's in town, so I don't need a hotel.
Yeah,
right? I can just go home when I'm tired, right? And so I'm gonna go on Saturday on April 1st. Now, Midwest Gaming Classic is only RPG adjacent, so there are RPGs and tabletop things that are happening. And then in addition, their main claim to fame is they have like a bunch of retro computers and then arcade machines that they've got set up as kind of like a free play sort of thing. So that's my project for this upcoming weekend, and I see I have a stressed out dog in the other room who is probably showing up on the audio. But the other thing that we have coming up in October, there is a Gamehole Con in Madison, Wisconsin. And that's something I may make a day trip to. Again, I'm too old to be doing like the whole 3-day thing for any of these, so I may day trip on Saturday for that this October. And that's sort of an outshoot of there's a con that actually just wrapped up last weekend, Gary Con in Lake Geneva, the birthplace of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep. I'm familiar.
And that, yep, absolutely. And that just wrapped up, I think, just this past weekend. And Gamehole Con kind of was an offshoot of that, and then it became its own thing. I like the smaller regional cons because candidly, like, you can make your mecca to Gen Con, but there's just and it's awesome.
So,
but it's crazy. Yeah. And
so this weekend was
WonderCon.
WonderCon, and there was a huge RPG contingent, and it's just like, I don't want to go because that's huge. It's just really huge. And you've all been to the Anaheim Convention Center.
Yep.
That is the hardest floor on the planet.
Yeah. I once had a migraine there. Yes.
Yeah, it's like the kind of thing that if I were to ever go, I would want to get one of those little electric scooters to run around and just like wave my baton at people and get out of my way, Sonny. Get out of my way.
Great. Now you're turning to old MF.
Yeah.
You might be already there. But yeah, so that's basically my game plan for the upcoming year. We'll see if any other Cons, yeah. Any other cons that are local that'll pop up?
Nice.
I think what we'll do. This is live and dangerous planning for the AIE Discord on the air without consulting anyone else. But
Non-consensual
maybe we'll
planning.
need to do right. Yeah, maybe we'll need to do something in the tabletop RPG Discord channel
Yeah,
to keep track of
absolutely.
events that people are going to. That
Oh,
might
yeah.
be a thing. Yeah. Just if people want to, like meet up because yeah, if people are in town like this week for the Milwaukee Classic Gaming Con, or if you're, I know at least one person often makes it out to Madison for Gamehole Con, so I may
Yeah,
attempt
it's
to meet up with
plans.
them there. So that is stay tuned to the Discord to maybe me and some of the other people throwing something together. This is completely unplanned. I've consulted no one.
All right.
Don't
Yeah,
yell
you
at
know
me,
what? You're
Max. I'm
now okay.
sorry. Yeah.
Thank you for auditioning. You've just been cast. You're now in charge of this. So awesome.
Yeah, that's how it works, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah.
How dare
absolutely.
you speak up?
Yep. So I'm gonna move on to the next topic before anyone records my efforts to
Okay,
volunteer
Too late.
coordinating
before you go into
all
your
of this. Oh yeah,
recommendation.
go ahead.
So I'm going to say that again, we've been talking about the kind of like the renewal and interest in RPGs, and for the folks interested in playing D&D, at least here in Southern California area, there's actually a group called SoCal D&D, which has multiple events, not necessarily focused on playing the game, but more like the camaraderie and community building that goes along with it. I missed out on the big LA D&D Tavern Social this last Wednesday because of reasons. Messed up my foot and it was raining and I hate the rain. But they
Oh,
actually
you live in
still,
Southern California?
yeah. But they actually ended up selling out the old El Cid restaurant, the flamenco restaurant. I don't know if you've ever been there,
I
but
haven't.
that's about 300 people just showing up there talking D&D and drinking.
Oh, so
And
it was tea and drinks.
so it was D&D and drinks, but they also have other events where it's like they do have learn to play, paint a mini, come out and hang out. So they're really kind of pushing this whole social aspect because
Absolutely. It's a
people
social
realize
game.
people need friends after the
Yeah.
pandemic, and you need to get out of your house.
Yeah, and any RPG really is. The social is half the aspect of it.
Yeah. As I posted a meme earlier in the week, it's like I sit around waiting for my friends to show up for our D&D thing because, you know, therapy is so expensive and it's only 4 hours of playing with my friends playing make believe with funky dice.
You know, as somebody who is a elder gamer, who's been doing this for 36 years. Honestly, it's still keeps you young and makes keeps your imagination going. It helps you be creative, and yeah, it is very therapeutic.
I will have to say, you whippersnapper, I was playing like D&D with a 92-year-old man
Nice.
at OrcCon, and it's like he had been playing since like the late 70s. So
Yeah.
it's like, so don't knock yourself.
I've been playing since the mid '80s. So yeah.
So it's like, and I run into the most interesting group of people. Yes, there's the social outcasts and the usual nerd types, but I played with engineers, I played with
Absolutely.
financial analysts, bankers.
We had my group from work was primarily financial intelligence analysts, and then Cameron playing our healer.
So you never know. And here, of course, when they ask me, so what do you do? Oh, professionally, I subvert elected officials.
There you go. Excellent.
So you never know who you're going to run into when you go to
Absolutely.
like these kind of gaming events. Now we move on to your review.
Yes, hoots.
Okay. This is going to be real quick. I thought about the past like year, and like what have I read that's related to tabletop RPGs, and I do want to plug "Slaying the Dragon" by Ben Riggs. It is, I forget what the subtitle is, but it's essentially a history of TSR through the Gary Gygax and then the Lorraine Williams days up until the acquisition of Wizards of the Coast. The narrative style, it is certainly a little bit of a love letter to D&D, and it is the tone I thought was maybe because I have no heart a little bit too gushing about D&D and maybe Gary Gygax than I would have liked. But the real cool thing about the book is this guy sat down and instead of interviewing or only interviewing like the creative people in TSR, he sat down and started interviewing like all the business, sales, marketing, and accounting people. And the really remarkable thing about Ben Riggs is if you follow him on Twitter, he has now a treasure trove of TSR sales charts that some people in the org just gave him as part of his research. So he has like the actual sales numbers on like the Dark Sun modules were like sold during second edition TSR days.
We have them. We own them.
Yes. You're like, now we know like you're that one out of however many people that actually have them at this point.
Absolutely.
That's what happens when you work at a gaming store and get a discount and are compelled to collect all the things.
All the things.
All of the things.
Yeah.
That's that is a peril. That is a great responsibility and a peril. Yeah, no, totally. So that's like the business side of TSR and how it was essentially always like one like short step away from financial ruin, and how like D&D itself, like just at the eve before like its acquisition, like was in danger of like being basically pieced apart into like different pieces of intellectual property that were owned by different entities. It is fascinating, and I think the book is worth a read if you're into the history and if you're
fascinating,
into like,
actually.
Do you know if there's an audiobook version of it?
Yes, there is an audiobook version of it. So yep, you should give it a listen. And yeah, even if you're just into like business writing and like and don't care about D&D at all, I thought it was fascinating, and that's sort of my book plug and my book recommendation for the we'll say 2022-2023.
I remember thinking, talking to Bach, where he said that people seem to forget how really non-lucrative publishing really is.
Absolutely.
Sure. There's one part of the book, and there's a connection. So basically TSR was founded and run by Gary Gygax, and he essentially almost ran it into the ground. But it was then, through some machinations, bought by a woman named Lorraine Williams, who is much maligned in like the history of D&D. But to her credit, she basically kept TSR afloat for like a decade or a decade and a half, longer than it really should have been, right? But she, through her family connections, owned the Buck Rogers intellectual property. So there was a hot minute during the early 90s where Lorraine Williams was pushing TSR to like publish and like print a bunch of Buck Rogers like
that is amazing
stuff.
Oh wow.
Yep, absolutely. So that's like the one anecdote from that book that just sticks with me because it's excellent. So yeah, give it a check. I'll move on to the next section because I think that's one of my other bullet points that I have. This weekend, new topic, Warhammer 40K has announced the 10th edition, a new edition of their system, and Lantheris. They're pruning down, they're redoing the rule books. You're not going to have to carry around like a separate rule book for each army that you build. They're literally compressing the data sheets, and they're promising to make it easier for new people to get into. And I hear that you are now into painting miniatures.
Right? And that's what
I am.
Get to a Decepticon, win some awards.
Are you with me against the Xeno threat? Will you stand with me against the Tyranids, Lantheris? Because I'm not I am a fan of of Warhammer 40K, but from a distance, right? Like I am not a miniatures painter, right?
You're gonna hate this, Hoots. I'm pro Tyranids.
I'm pro Tyranids. Okay,
you are.
that's fine. Like I can respect that, but like you are okay. Let's destroy everything. Like turn all of the matter in the galaxy into Tyranids.
See, I have walked into my local gaming stores on Warhammer days, and I am blown away about the artistic abilities of these folks. I wish I was that good. I do it as I kind of excited, but these guys, like, they have airbrushes and stuff, tools that I wish I only had. My only real issue with Warhammer really is, besides how expensive it is, because it is really, really expensive. A lot of the unit types aren't even being produced anymore, or are difficult to get. So whenever I walk, there's actually a Game Workshop cafe near me. So technically 3 friendly local gaming stores. But I never really appreciated the kind of the hard sell. Oh, buy this, buy this, buy this. What does each do? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just buy them. And I'm like going, no. Let me read the books. Let me read how the rules go. And what's the probability of seeing grown nerds like attack each other with like metal rulers as swords? Because I have seen it. See, again, what drove me away from gaming back in my like mid 20s was watching the neckbeards fight over like AoE effects of like Warhammer.
As a current neckbeard, as someone who needs to shave, I am telling you that in fact, if you look at the turn order for Warhammer 40k rules, the argument phase is the most critical phase in determining the outcome of an engagement.
Fabulous.
Because obviously we don't understand or seem to grasp the concept of how a ruler is supposed to be used.
Yep.
Oh no! Here, let me bring out the protractor and the
Don't you just have overlays people to figure it out, anyways?
It's my experience this day is spend 4 or 5 hours setting up the table in the game, and spend 30 minutes of play.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Oh, in hopes that your friends don't like break out beating each other up. Because
what is it called? It's a carpenter square. Let me break out my carpenter square to measure this for you, because A, I can measure it, but B, if I really need to use it as a weapon.
It's a weapon.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, it's a finesse weapon, so you can use it actually with either intellect or strength, because it's a different kind of finesse weapon.
Okay,
and people make fun of the fact that I like BattleTech, but because it's actually in comparison to like Warhammer 40k, BattleTech's actually pretty.
I think we've had this conversation before.
I think the community is a little tamer for battle. Like Warhammer 40k is a special breed.
It's a special kind of nerd. It's a special kind of like.
Well,
and we say Warhammer, this with Adapticon being this weekend.
When blood for the blood god is the rallying cry of Warhammer fans, that maybe gives it away.
Gives an idea of what you're dealing with.
God, I love the Warhammer 40k
just have no
community.
Space to store all that plastic.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, they're really pretty, and I love the pipe, but oh my god, it's like I don't have enough physical space as it is.
You do know that our good friend Alec actually does 40k at our local gaming shop, and teaches all does the painting and the whole bit now. So you need to hook up with him to chat some of that stuff.
Does he teach carpentry skills to build storage? Is really
knowing
what I
him,
think
yes.
Garrus is getting at. Okay,
knowing
him, starting
yes.
to use like trigonometry to figure out whether this AoE.
He's a very intelligent man. I'm pretty sure he probably does. Yes.
All right. Do we want to talk about the D&D movie now?
Oh, we definitely want to talk about the D&D movie.
Yes.
It's coming out the 31st, unless you're in, I think, a select audience, or if you went to South by Southwest, you got to see it. Apparently,
or work in a certain industry in Southern California.
Yeah, they had like a whole like earlier this week. They had an event where you can go and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's being released on Thursday, so I'm going to go see it on Thursday with Miss Length Harris. And I just really, really, really hope it's like above the Jeremy Irons, Marlon Wayans.
It's gotta be. Anything is.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you who have not seen the year 2000 Jeremy Iron versions of Dungeons and Dragons. They released 2 more of those, by the way, that I think were direct to TV.
Yep.
But if you have not seen any of those, I think a younger YouTube content creator, Ginny D, did like a review.
Oh, I love Ginny.
Just the other day. Yes, she did a review of the Jeremy.
She
Irons
watches
D&D
them,
movie
so
a
you
couple
don't
of days
have
ago.
to. Yep.
Yes, it is an excellent recap. It is perfect. If you want to get up to speed on what we're talking about, just watch that YouTube video. It's great. But I suspect, based on critic reviews and based on that movie, that it probably will at least exceed the 2000 movie. But I think the bar is so low that really, I don't think that's a very difficult lift.
No.
I think when it comes to high fantasy, unless you're talking like the Lord of the Rings like series, it's pretty low. I mean, you said the bar is set really, really low.
Real low. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
No, and it's like
So yeah.
I'm going to go see it because so like I said, my wife wants to go see it because she's a therapist and she works with a lot of kids, so she's been like asking me to do a crash course about how D&D works, as well as the various races and species that are found within the various multiverses, because all the kids now are asking her, "Oh, what do you know about tieflings? What do you know about this?
Cute.
What do you know about
Oh
the
my
portals?" And she goes to me and goes, "What do you know about D&D?" I'm like, "Enough to be dangerous. What do you know about the races?" As I pluck over my player's handbook and
Right.
like all the other source books, is where do you want to start? The only one I don't have is the Total Walk. So I get to like school her about when it comes to all of that and where the various groups comes in, just because she's getting asked left and right because of the kids that she's working with.
I do know, and a lot of schools, do actually have D&D groups and all of that, and it's weird. These kids can actually just find a D&D club and didn't have to find their own people by asking around and getting ridiculed like us.
Oh
I
my God.
will say that we had a D&D group when I was in high school. That was between 2000 and 2004. So
Oh, okay, you are younger. Never mind.
Yeah, I am younger. Yep, I am a little bit younger than everybody
else.
And many of you heard like my experience having to go play or trying to play D&D as a kid, which didn't happen just because it was not as easily available to certain folks as others.
Yeah.
But
even
now,
harder than it was for me. Yeah, you definitely.
It was not impossible for me to get involved in it.
Yeah.
But it's just like my nieces and nephews. Like my nephew, who's now in high school, junior high school, they had a Star Wars and a D&D club. They combined the two.
The stuff that I got ridiculed for being a nerd with boobs in the 80s. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you'll never get a boyfriend, girlfriend.
I don't care. I just want a DM. Thanks.
No, like heaven forbid you like drop your backpack and a D20 came out of your backpack, and then everyone goes, "You're a giant nerd."
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah.
So I am on the fence about seeing the movie, but not because I'm scared of the movie, but because I haven't seen a movie in the theater since before I was on the podcast, right? So like I think we said I was last, so it would have been pre-pandemic that I was last on the theater, but the pandemic isn't what stopped me from going to the theater, right? I was already not going to the theater before the pandemic. But I will definitely watch the D&D movie when it is out to whatever streaming service exists.
Yeah.
So I think that is going, so I hope the D&D movie does really well, right? But just for the brand, I think it would be a good thing. For the hobby, I think it's a good thing. Say what you will about D&D and about Wizards of the Coast. I think it would be a net positive thing. I don't know how movies are doing. I worry, right? I think movies are in a bad spot because people like me don't go to them anymore.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We were like not like immediately post pandemic. to go see some of the Marvel shows, Ben would rent a movie theater because you could do the smaller movie theaters and it was only 20 people, as long as you had 20 people, and it was reasonable. But
it was like $10 a person.
Yeah. But lately they've stopped doing that, or they doubled the price and it just wasn't worth it anymore.
It's like it's like $20 a person, or you need to do it for 40 people. So we weren't able, but we've found like showings where it's not that sold out, not that bad. So now we're going to this showing at this time in this theater, and we've been really lucky where it's been almost our own theater.
Yeah.
Cool. We didn't lose Lengtheris, did we?
He's just really good at sitting still.
You're right. I think he's frozen. Okay.
All right. So
we'll give him a little bit, but
we do want to mention Gusty's event. So Hoots, are you up to speed on that? Yes. Or okay, why don't we talk about that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I am absolutely not up to speed on that. So yes, but we definitely want to talk about Gusty's event.
So she is looking for people interested in being DMs, Dungeon Masters. If you participate in the event as a DM, you will get a painted mini as a thank you from Lank. And all the players who take part in the adventures will get added to a random drawing, and a lucky player will also be getting a blind bag of metal dice from Dice Envy.
Nice!
So if you are interested, please reach out to Gusty Koo on Discord to sign up. So that is an awesome event. And she's calling it the week of one-shots.
I think we have a Lengtheris trying to come back and reach from beyond the podcast ether.
The other thing I wanted to mention, and this is a shout out to speaking of Ben, they did a really good podcast on their D&D Discussions podcast, and they interviewed Dr. Emily Friedman, and it was all about actual plays and why Critical Role does a 4-hour one where Dimension 20 only does 2 hours, shorter arcs and stuff like that. But there's a lot of really good educational information in there about the different formats, the different games that are used. I think there was some talk of the OGL stuff in there. But definitely take a listen to that podcast. It was really, really interesting. And she's a PhD, and I forget which university she's associated with, but they have a whole course on actual plays and role-playing games and things like that.
I still need to listen to that episode just because obviously most of my exercise time is spent listening to actual plays. So
yes, you will enjoy that. So
apologies for that. Discord guys are unhappy with me.
Yes, it happens.
So
but yeah.
No, the only thing I remember before I got disconnected, in regards to, again, quick response to Hoots, movies are not doing well in theaters at all. The future is at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a very short time between when it's in the theater and when it hits at home. Sometimes there's no time between the two.
Yep. And just a clarification from Gusty, the event is not limited to D&D. It can be Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, other games. So feel free to stretch your gaming reach and play other games.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was assuming we were talking about Gusty's RPG event?
Yeah, we just caught up on Gusty's event.
One-shots.
Yep.
So, as you mentioned before, like I'm for the folks who are DMing, I'm providing the little colored, like this is the first one of many. It's a little too small for you to see, but it's a little drow swordsman that you can use either as a paladin or a fighter.
Excellent.
So, and of course, little like dwarf, little like warlock. But yeah, there's about 4 more that are coming. So yeah, if you participate and want to work, want to try your hand at DMing, you get one of these little cool little minis that I'll pick up and paint up for you.
Awesome.
We've discussed it, and so we're going to add a special little random drawing for a lucky player.
Mm-hmm.
One lucky player gets a very cool little blind bag of metal dice from Dice Envy. So, what is traditionally a $50 metal dice, completely blind bag, you don't know what you're going to get until you get it.
Neat. That's awesome.
Cool. And I think
All
the
right.
only other thing is just a reminder there is a D&D Direct on March 28th. Product announcements and stuff from Wizards of the Coast. And then
Excellent.
what's
So
the
very, very
influencer summit?
very Nintendo like.
Yeah, I would say WotC is channeling Nintendo. It's like, is this going to become a regular thing now?
Hey, you
Well,
know,
so
I wouldn't mind.
they've been
Just
doing-
news. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing directs for,
You have it for a while.
at least a couple of years now.
Mm-hmm.
So like everyone is channeling their inner Nintendo
Absolutely.
at this point. I think we could have a whole show about the state of E3 and how no one is going to it anymore.
Yeah.
True.
Because EA3 is dead, finally. Finally.
All right. So before we wrap stuff up, anything else, my friends?
Oh, quick little
Yeah.
shout out again for Augustico, who's
Yes.
organizing this. If you want to participate, play, be a DM, by all means, go ahead and reach her, DM her in Discord.
Yep.
We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. I think that is our show for tonight. While the chat room continues to suggesting titles. Lank, Hoots, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anytime
It
you guys
is
want to come and talk
always-
about tabletop,
It is always a blast. I always love being on the show. It has been far too long.
it really
We
has.
won't
So
make it-
we'll be
yeah.
bugging you more.
Absolutely. We won't make it as long again.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right.
All
and
right.
where can we find you folks? Sorry.
Nope, you're good.
I
It
deleted.
has been a while.
I deleted my Twitter. Well,
Yeah.
I deleted all the tweets. I still hung on to the Twitter handles so no one else took it. I think if I really want to dox myself, I'm on Mastodon now. I think it's at Andy Van Hout at dice.camp. If you want to follow me on Mastodon, I post pictures of the dogs, and that's really it. It's
Excellent.
like Twitter as it was in 2007. There's nothing of value there, but if you want to follow me on Mastodon, by all means.
Excellent.
Alas, I
and
remember
also
when Twitter was
Discord.
fun.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you can follow me on Discord. I'm in the AIE Discord. I hang out there. You can at me there.
And as for myself, you can always get a hold of me via email, linktheris@gmail.com. I rarely, if ever, check Twitter nowadays because
Yeah, I mean,
it's Twitter. I am on Mastodon, never check it. But you can also get a hold of me here on Discord. I know there's a way to link your profile name. Oh, there, linktheris #3564. There.
just type in at Lank.
Yeah.
They'll find you.
Or just join the AIE Discord at Lanktheris at
There you go.
3
It's
a.m.
easy. That's what I
Pacific
suggest.
time.
And yell at me for being long-winded and telling too many stories.
It's part of
Nope.
no, it's part of your charm. Okay, it's like me being short and sassy. It's part of your charm. If you
Yes.
weren't long-winded, we would worry if something is wrong with you.
Exactly. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, if you have a question or comment about our show, you can email us at podcast.aieguild.org@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter. The show is at AIE Podcast, while Twitter still exists. Mew is at the Mew Cow. Makala is at Cyberwave, and I am at Ivory Tiger. We record live with video every other Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. You can join the chat room and play along with us on our website, aie-guild.org/podcast-live-stream, and look for the link to our Discord server at AIE-guild.org. For past episodes, you can find them on our YouTube channel, the AIE Podcast, and our theme was composed by the amazing Andrew Allen. Follow him at Keys with Soul or visit his website, andrewallenmusic.com.
And if you have any member segments for us, this is where we would put them. So let us know and we can get in the next one.
Don't record a member segment that's an hour and a half.
No,
we just put that on the feed.
You need to give us a okay. Now we need a trailer, gentlemen.
Exactly.
Trailers
For your member segment. We need a trailer.
Yep.
So what you're saying is that we should totally run on this side thing with RPGs and you just post it alongside or after your shows, because otherwise it'll be just Hoots, myself, and the rest of the other RPG like Yahoos talking for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time.
So the podcast about RPGs will be longer than most RPG sessions, which is not a bad thing. And we always need more RPGs. All right, guys. So next time we'll be talking about something. It's on Easter Sunday, so we're going to try to figure out our schedule. But until then, AIE, I guess you're
He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. Sorry. Look at the bottom. Your names are in there.
Nope.
Yeah.
I didn't warn
I had
them.
no idea.
Start
Go
it
to
over.
the bottom of the document.
Go to the bottom of the notes.
It's Gusty's fault.
Hoots
Ah,
report to the
okay.
bottom
I
of the
see
notes.
it.
So
I see it. Aha.
Until then, AIE.
This is Hoots.
That was Langtheris. Or was it?
It was. This is McCullough.
This is Tetsemi.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
No.
This is Mew Cow.
And this has been the very long-winded AIE podcast.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, that's going to be a fun edit.
I think had I had game tonight, my Spelljammer group would have understood the normal 30 minutes I need to push game back. Well, it's going longer because we're talking about RPGs.
Yep. Exactly.
Title suggestion: It's Gusty's fault. Ah!
All right, yeah, I gotta pull up the.
Ooh, neckbeard ruler battles.
How is this show not
that's a good
longer? Oh, Kadavara, that's good.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm really enjoying Uncle Lankin, Whippersnapper Hoots, wax poetic about Final Fantasy, and eventually talk TTRPGs because it's long, and it should be because it's the two of you here.
It's fair, yeah.
And that's because I didn't
hours
take the
later.
bait for talking about Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah. I got it. I'm really loving combining. And this is just me because I'm suggesting. How is this show not longer? Uncle Lank and Whippersnapper Hoots.
Blow out all the podcast feeder runners.
Right.
Title suggestion 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I love it. Thank you guys. That was a blast though. And we really could have talked longer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I purposely was as quiet as I could be just so it didn't go on too long.
So
we were good in comparison to our usual. We were good.
Yeah. All right,
we were well behaved.
We will talk to you later before we get into an after show discussion that goes on for another hour. So, bye, chat room.
Okay. So what did you want for your title, gents?